Van Gundy's team spoke about emotional control before the series, but after game one, do not bring up the topic of composure to the Knicks head coach.
I was so sick of hearing the word poise. You know, we are who we are. We're not a poised team, and that's why unfortunately, we can only get to a certain level. But we are a team that is a hit first, hit hard, hit often type of team, and who plays hard and combative and competitive, and at times sacrifices a little bit of poise to our detriment.
Well, even though the Knicks were holed up in Charleston, South Carolina for their pre-playoff camp, there was no way they could avoid hearing about what happened to them last year. Of course, they've had to listen to it all season long, how that lack of poise in Game 5 cost the Knicks an opportunity to possibly beat Miami and go on and play the Bulls in the Eastern Conference Final. And the play I'm referring to was the Charlie Ward, T.J. Brown, which got a lot of Knicks just meandering out on the floor, and then suspensions for a couple of games.
And now infamous play. Houston hits both free throws. Mourning gets it deep, but kicks it out. Keith Askins, 6 of 3. Askins from downtown. And the Heat, again, firing from three-point range. They did 2 of their first 3.
Chris Mills not showing any respect at all for the poor shooting Askins, although every once in a while he'll knock down that perimeter 3. Doesn't do much else offensively.
Johnson against Brown. Shot clock at 8. Johnson making his move. Quick spin from Larry Johnson. Oakley mistimed his jump, and Askins picking it up. Both teams would like to push it more. Nice feed to Mourning, and Mourning foul just falls off. As the Knicks transition defense poor that time, Larry Johnson will pick up his first.
You're right, Mike. It was poor, and given the fact that Charles Oakley really didn't go to the offensive board, he is really trailing this play big time. Larry Johnson able to get back and commit the foul hard enough to send the 65% shooter to the foul line.
Mourning fouled by his former Hornet teammate. Those two not exactly dinner fouls since they left each other in Charlotte. As Mourning misfires on the first, and there you see how dangerous they can be from three-point range. Hardaway and Leonard, over 150 three-point field goals made. Yes, Mourning about that protective mask from the broken cheekbone. He says it's a nuisance. Actually thinks he's going to auction it off at his annual summer charity event, which is not a bad idea.
He's dying to shed it. The doctors have told him at least 2 or 3 more weeks.
He's back up by 3 as Mourning goes 1 for 2. Askins now on Houston with Marley out of the game after the injury. We'll get an update on that shortly. Mills trying to get something going, then throws it away. Johnson walked away.
This is a new wrinkle the Knicks put in for this game, trying to get Allen Houston in a little misdirection, hailing the ball up top, and you can see the Knicks unsure with their execution.
Hardaway, his first field goal, and the Heat with their largest lead in the early going, a 5-point advantage, a 13-4 run for Miami.
The Knicks ought to be giving a chance to Allen Houston to work on Keith Askins. The officials will watch him very closely. He's sometimes an over-aggressive defender, and they'll call him for a lot of fouls if you give him the opportunity.
Picked up quick fouls in game 1. Johnson feed, good ball movement from the Knicks. Ward an open 3. Johnson left hand tip, won't go, and Askins comes away. Point blank range for Larry Johnson. Hardaway. A shake and bake from Tim Hardaway gets the crowd going. Leonard with a nice spin move, blocked from behind, but a foul. And Charlie Ward will pick up his second. Right now, let's get an update on Dan Marley from our sideline reporter, Paul Sunderland.
Well, Mike had a chance to visit just a moment ago with the Miami Heat medical staff, and Dan Marley, who's been bothered by a back for a couple of years, a hernia which has been getting most of the medical attention, has also been playing with a strained groin. He has re-injured the left groin. He will not return to today's game. So a blow certainly to the defensive structure of the Miami Heat. Back to you.
Thank you, Paul. You can tell by the way he was going up the floor that he really aggravated that injury. And that's a huge loss for the Heat.
And talking with Pat Riley yesterday, I asked him, I said, how long do you think Dan Marley can hold up? It's not like a hernia is going to get better with more activity. Even though they don't have Dan Marley practicing, hasn't done it all year, he just rides the bike. But you can't play NBA basketball at this very high level with a hernia. I don't know how he did it in game 1.
Chris Childs and John Starks check in. Mills and Ward sit down again. Charlie Ward picking up his second foul. Starks played well in game 1. Of course, slumped the tail end of the regular season. Last couple of months more than the tail end. Oakley another jumper. Mourning clearing space. Heat on an 8-0 run. They lead by 7. Mourning gets away from Oakley and Alonzo Mourning. Now it's 7 points. A 10-0 run for the Miami Heat.
I thought in game 1, Mike, the Knicks had all kinds of problems with their pick-and-roll defense. They cleaned it up later in the game, but it was way too late.
Timeout call by Jeff Van Gundy. Just over 4 minutes remaining. 10 straight points by the Heat here in the first. They lead by 9.